Well, the conference race is on, and we can see we're 4 games into it, and we're playing the 500 basketball in it, as well as Alabama. Both teams start off 2-0 and probably lost 2 of the last games, and so it's a contest between teams that are continue to try to find their identity. And one of the things we always talk about with our team is on our defense, and there's something that's lacking. You know, teams are shooting a higher percentage on us than they were early in the year, and so we've got to. And I think the way to correct that is going to be with effort. I think the effort on our defense has got to really pick up from the standpoint of not letting people do what they want to do and playing defense throughout the whole possessions. I think we played for about 5 or 6 passes, and then there's a breakdown. So, but that's something we'll fix that because I always want our defense to be the strength of our team, which also creates offense for us. We've seen we can score in the half court. Now we've got to be able to stop people, and I just think in especially the last 2 games, teams have shot a higher percentage than normal.
Is it a matter of just effort, or maybe some lineup changes to deal? It seems like
smaller guards kind of really stepped on quick guards.
Well, I just think it's the guys that are out there. You know, our lineup has been we introduced some different guys in there, but I think it's just the guys that are out there got to be on the same page. I mean, we've seen the finish of the Georgia game. That's probably the best our defense has been in conference play. And you look at the guys that were out there, it was some guys that came off the bench, and that's what this team is. The makeup of this team is. It's going to be different guys, different nights, and so. But we've got to have the mindset going in. We got to stop people and not giving up layups to start the game off. And the funny thing about it is we're in position. We just got to do the finishing part of it.
You talked about not overreacting to fans' concerns after 1 loss last week, but now after 2, you know, what's the mindset? And do you feel like the fact that you have kind of a veteran group that it can help overcome this?
I think our guys have bounced back. You got to say Ole Miss is a good basketball team. They shot the ball well. They made some shots. I mean, when you're making 3 bank shots in 1 game, I mean, shot clock running down. I mean, sometimes it's the other team's night. You want to say that, hey, you want to have something but I think it was a combination of us letting them get to that point. I think you know, our defense should be first of all suffocating and really active, and I just didn't think we had the activeness in it that we normally have.
Anton was playing, you know, really well there at the end of the previous game. To only get, I know he got 2 early fouls. Was it just the way the game played out, or
was it Anton
Beard?
Yeah. Well, you know, Anton, you know, he had came off that ankle injury a little bit, so he's just didn't play well. That's the bottom line. Didn't play well.
With the team scoring so easily inside, as Kingsley hasn't played maybe as much lately, do you go to him more again because of this?
Well, he'll be. I think he's our best rim protector, and I think the other night we saw even some missed assignments. I mean, guys trying to get out to the wing as opposed to protecting the hole, and that's, to me, it's the communication part of it. We got to be able to talk on defense and be linked together.
Mike, I think you guys haven't lost back-to-back home games since going back to your first year. How good do you feel still about being at home even after a home loss?
We're ready to get the taste of our mouth, Bob. The next game is a big game for us, so we're ready to get the taste of our mouth. We've done well in terms of taking care of home. Like I said, the game the other night, it's one of those games where Ole Miss played really, really well, and we didn't play as good as we want to play. So we want to protect the home court, and we got a good Alabama team that's coming here just as hungry. So I think it's going to be important for us to really play well.
Ty really had one of his best games this year. What do you expect from him the rest of the season?
Had one of his best games in terms of he's got to get better defensively. I think that's the key there. It's not necessarily the offense; it's our defense. It's got to get better. Not only Kai, but we're talking about Bobby, all the guys that are playing. Michael's got to get better at it.
Several coaches on the SEC call talked about Alabama's defense a couple of days ago. What do you see from them? And they're running a little more zone.
Yeah, they run a lot of zone. In fact, we played against them last year. They played a lot of zone last year. They run like a 1-1-3 matchup zone, and their deal is to use their length and their athletic ability to make you shoot jump shots. They'll extend their defense from time to time, but it's a defense that they've been pretty successful at. So you got to have good ball movement. You got to get the ball moving, baseline, sideline. Some inside the zone is where the soft spot is, and you got to make shots. You got to make shots. But they are. Go ahead.
Does Randolph present kind of the same problems Jarvis Summers does?
Well, Randolph is more of a scorer. I think he's a guy that he's a recipient of passes from other people. You know, Summers is more of a combo point guard that can create for himself. But Randolph is no question about it, 6'5", 6'6", long, athletic. You got to keep him out of the lane. Can knock down the three-point shot. He's the leading scorer along with Ricky Tarrant, a young man that transferred in from Tulane that set out last year, who's leading them in scoring, I think, in conference play. Very good player, can shoot the basketball, put it on the floor. I mean, he runs the show. You know, last year they had Rutherford, and this year they have Tarrant. And Cooper is a guy that's played well for them, especially against us. So it's a very athletic team, deeper than they have been. They've got some good young players. The Hale kid is a very good player. The Taylor kid in the middle that kind of patrols the lane. So they got a lot of nice pieces.
Did you use the Alabama defeat last year as any extra motivation coming into this game that you felt in this season?
No, I think the motivation is we just lost the game at home. I think that's the motivation, and obviously we played well throughout the course of the year, and we've had 2 bumps in the road here with the last 2 games at Tennessee and then of course at Ole Miss. So our mindset is, you know what, we've got to get back on the right track, and that is playing Razorback basketball, winning basketball.
The expectations for this team as high as they've been, what gives you confidence when you look at this group that they can bounce back and recover from the same?
I think the kind of players we have, the kind of kids we have. I think one thing they've always been, they respond to the adversity. They've learned. You know, early on we took a lump when we lost at Ames out. We lost there. Then we had a tough defeat at Clemson, and we battled back. So just like we start off 2-0, we go 0-2. Well, guess what? We can change that real quick, and that's just a mindset. And I think our guys are along in their process that they can bounce back, and they've shown they can do that. We got 14 games left, so there's no panic on this side of it.
You said that you're going to have to shoot the ball a lot on Thursday.
Got to make shots.
Yeah.
Got to make shots.
How do you feel confidence-wise as far as shooting goes?
Well, I think we got a good shooting team. We just got to take good shots, and I think you start inside out. I think we've got a good interior scorer guy that's knocking shots down. Bobby's he's playing well. We've got to get other guys to play well. And I think once you establish your inside, and whether they play matchup, zone, or man-to-man, it doesn't matter. You want to be able to attack the basket, get some easy buckets, high percentage shots, get to the free throw lines, and of course that opens up the outside. And we got enough guys that can shoot the basketball.
Coach, can you talk about like your Qualls and Portis, that duo, and getting confidence scoring, and just what an asset that is, and how you can use it more?
Well, I feel it's good that those guys are doing some scoring and they're playing well. But we got to get other guys to playing well. I think when our team functions at its best is we got balanced scoring. And not necessarily taking anything away from those guys. They got to do what they have to do. But when you got guys like Landis, getting your 10 points here, or Bell getting your 8 and 9 points here, then people now they got to zero in on those other guys. So to me, with those guys scoring the numbers they are, they're going to be targets. So now we got to have other guys to step up and score the basketball. And
you're telling about how important is it for Durham to be maybe less streaky? He's kind of a streaky guy.
Well, one of the things I think with Durham is that he's not even been streaky. He hasn't even been shooting the basketball. He's just been out there passing the basketball. I mean, you got to shoot it in order to be streaky. So he's got to be able to. You got to be a little bit more aggressive. I think we got to be more in attack mode, and not only he, but I think our whole team.
How do you feel like the movement is when guys don't have the ball on offense? Do you feel like they're making the defense work enough on that side of the ball?
Well, my problem is not with the offense. It's with the defense. We're scoring. I mean, you got to stop people. That's me. That's the biggest concern right now is our defense. So I don't worry about that. I think our offense will be fine. We've shown that throughout the year. But it's about having the pride and playing with that passion that you have to play with. And that is, till we get the basketball on defense and rebounding the basketball. So that's for the next few. That's all we're working on is our defense, working on tempo, getting the ball out, and creating some off our defense.
I think Alabama lost some like 16 straight road games. They finally broke through at Tennessee. How much do you think that helps a team that's had a lengthy road losing streak? Because I think they have a good win like that on the road at Tennessee.
Anytime you can win on the road, I think it's big for you, big confidence booster for your kids. And so you carry that with you the next place you go. So I'm sure any win, especially on the road, is big for any team.
Is there any conference regulations in effect when a ref can't call the game? That there should be an alternate on staff. What have you heard from the conference?
Well, it's right now it's just for tournament settings only it takes place, and it's probably going to be something that I'm going to present to them because I think it's something that they need to look at, especially in conference games. The conference games that you play, they're big, they're very important, and so to have less officials, now it puts a lot of more judgment on the officials that are calling the game. They got to cover a lot more, and we saw it firsthand. It's very difficult with so much going on in the game. The guy that the 3 second, when the shot clock went off, and I watched the film, the guy that actually is supposed to look at the clock, he's counting. He's counting like a 5 count. So it's hard for him to call that. You got the baseline guy on the baseline. He's watching all the action there. So the guy that actually should be watching the shot clock, he's counting. There's a count on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's got to be looking at the three-point line to see if it's a three-point line. Now, I ain't the smartest guy in the world, but to me, it's hard to do all three of those things. It's hard. So, but
there was a play where Moses got straight shoved.
Got big time shove. So it's something that I'm really contemplating about presenting to our league.
Did you talk to Mark Whitworth or somebody else at the SEC after the game, like on Monday or something, and to tell them your feelings about it?
I'm sure they know about it.
Time for one more. Coach, the fans were great on Saturday, and you got another home game Thursday. I'm sure that your message to them is you need them to come back out.
Oh, our fans were awesome. I mean, it was a packed house. It's and I think our kids look forward to it. And I want them to get used to knowing that that's how it is, with that many people in here. So we're looking forward to them coming against an Alabama team. We're right in the middle of this race. The race has just started, and our fans are very critical to our success. So we want them to show up, and we'll do our part. They did their part. We'll do our part. I guarantee you we'll do our part.